2211 Bonagee. My name is Dr. Elizabeth Carter, and for over 35 years, I've dedicated my life to one mission: helping older adults stay safe, independent, and thriving in their own homes. As a senior care expert and aging specialist, I've worked with thousands of individuals who cherish their independence but face challenges that could turn their world upside down in an instant. I know this struggle not just as a professional, but as a daughter. My father, Robert, was fiercely independent well into his late 80s. He loved his morning walks, tending to his backyard garden, and cooking his favorite meals. But one evening, everything changed. He slipped in the bathroom, unable to get up, and spent nearly 8 hours on the cold tile floor before help arrived. That moment shook me to my core. I had spent decades helping others avoid these situations, yet it happened in my own family. That experience changed the way I approach aging and safety. It made me realize that growing older alone doesn't have to mean growing older at risk. Today, on Living Strong After 60, I want to share 5 crucial steps that can help older adults like my father and like you stay safe while maintaining the independence you value so much. These aren't complicated or expensive solutions. They're simple, practical steps that could mean the difference between peace of mind and crisis. If you or someone you love is living alone, the next few minutes could truly change the way you think about independent living. I'll never forget the fear in my father's eyes when I found him after his fall. In that moment, he wasn't just my dad, he was one of the millions of older adults facing risks that too often go unnoticed until it's too late. But there's good news. We can take action now. So let's dive in and talk about how you can protect yourself or a loved one while continuing to enjoy the freedom of living on your own terms. I can still remember the sound of my father's voice when I found him that morning, weak, shaky, but filled with relief. "Liz, I didn't think anyone would find me in time," he whispered. That moment broke my heart. My father, a man who had always been so strong, so independent, had spent hours alone, hoping that anyone would come to help. After we got him to the hospital, and the doctors confirmed he would recover, I sat by his bedside, replaying everything in my mind. How could this have happened? My father wasn't careless. He wasn't frail. He was just like so many older adults, determined to live on his own terms, but unaware of how quickly one small accident could change everything. That's when I knew we had to make changes. Not just for him, but for the thousands of older adults facing the same hidden dangers every day. I didn't want my father or anyone else to experience that fear again. So we started with small but powerful steps. First, we set up a daily check-in routine. A simple text message each morning, just to say I'm up and doing well. If I didn't hear from him, I would call. If he didn't answer, I'd know to check in immediately. It was such a small change, but it gave both of us peace of mind. Then, we installed a medical alert system. My father resisted at first. He didn't like the idea of wearing a device around his neck. "I'm not some helpless old man," he told me. But I reminded him, being prepared isn't a sign of weakness. It's a way to stay in control. A way to make sure that if something happened again, he wouldn't be alone for hours, waiting for help. We also made his home safer. We removed loose rugs, installed grab bars in the bathroom, and made sure every room was well lit. It wasn't about taking away his independence. It was about making sure he could keep it. And finally, we focused on something just as important as physical safety: staying socially connected. My father started attending a local senior group, rekindling friendships he had let fade over the years. I saw a change in him. He wasn't just safer, he was happier. These steps transformed my father's life, and I know they can do the same for you or your loved ones. because independence should never mean isolation, and living alone should never mean living at risk. As I made these changes to my father's daily life, I began to realize something troubling. He wasn't alone in facing these dangers. There are millions of older adults living independently, just like he was, completely unaware of how quickly their lives could change. For many, the biggest threat isn't illness, it's the risk of falling. Falls are the leading cause of injury among older adults. Yet so many people brush them off as a minor concern. But the truth is, one bad fall can take away everything: your mobility, your independence, and in some cases, even your life. My father was lucky. He survived his fall with only minor injuries, but I've met countless others who weren't as fortunate. A broken hip, a head injury, a long time spent on the floor. Without help, these things don't just happen to other people. They can happen to anyone. And then there's the risk that no one likes to talk about: financial scams. Older adults are prime targets for scammers who use fear and deception to steal their money, their information, and sometimes even their trust in the world around them. I once worked with a man, Mr. Stevens, a retired school principal who prided himself on being sharp and independent. One day, he got a call from someone claiming to be from the IRS, threatening legal action if he didn't send money immediately. Panicked, he wired thousands of dollars before realizing it was all a lie. The money was gone, but the worst part? He felt humiliated. He stopped trusting phone calls, stopped opening his mail, and withdrew from the world because of the shame. And what about home security? Many people think crime only happens in big cities, or only to people who aren't careful. But older adults living alone are often seen as easy targets. A dark front porch, a door without a deadbolt, or even a predictable routine can make someone vulnerable. I'll never forget the story of Mrs. Jenkins, an 82-year-old woman who woke up one night to find a stranger in her home. She had always felt safe in her quiet neighborhood until that night. But perhaps the most overlooked danger of all is isolation. Humans aren't meant to live in loneliness, yet so many older adults do. They tell themselves they're fine, that they don't mind the silence, but the body and mind suffer. Loneliness isn't just an emotional struggle. Studies have shown that it increases the risk of dementia, heart disease, and even early death. My father never admitted that he was lonely until he started reconnecting with friends. Then, he finally understood what he had been missing. These risks are real, and the scariest part? Most people don't take them seriously until it's too late. That's why I'm here to help you see these dangers before they become emergencies. Because independence shouldn't come at the cost of safety. And the good news? There are real practical ways to prevent these risks, and I'm going to show you how. Now that we understand the risks, the question is, what can we do about them? The good news is that protecting yourself or a loved one is easier than you might think. Here are 5 practical steps that can help you stay safe, independent, and in control of your life. 1. Set up a daily check. In System 1 of the simplest yet most powerful ways to stay safe is to have a daily check-in. My father and I started a routine where he would text me every morning, "Good morning, all is well." If I didn't hear from him, I knew to call. If he didn't answer, I'd check on him. You don't need to rely on family alone. You can set up a system with a trusted neighbor, a close friend, or even use an automated check-in service that alerts someone if you don't respond. The key is making sure that if something happens, help isn't far away. 2. Invest in a medical alert system. Phones are helpful, but only if you can reach them. If my father had a medical alert pendant when he fell, he wouldn't have spent 8 hours on the floor. These devices allow you to call for help with the press of a button. And many modern versions even detect falls automatically. Some people hesitate to wear one because they think it makes them look old or helpless. But I always remind them, true independence isn't about avoiding help. It's about making sure you can get it when you need it. 3. Strengthen home security. Older adults living alone can be easy targets for criminals. But there are simple ways to make your home much safer. Install a video doorbell so you can see who's at your door before opening it. Use motion sensor lights around your home to deter intruders. Strengthen your locks and never share personal information over the phone. My father installed a smart lock and a security camera, and it gave him peace of mind knowing his home was protected. 4. Prevent falls before they happen. Falls are one of the biggest risks for older adults, but small changes can make a huge difference. Remove loose rugs, install grab bars in the bathroom, and ensure your home has bright lighting. Exercise also plays a major role. Simple activities like stretching, walking, or balance exercises can strengthen your muscles and reduce your risk of falling. My father started doing light chair exercises daily, and not only did it improve his balance, but it also made him feel stronger and more confident. 5. Stay socially connected. Isolation isn't just lonely, it's dangerous. Staying engaged with friends, family, and your community can improve your mood, protect your mental health, and even extend your life. My father joined a local senior group, started attending weekly coffee meetups, and even learned how to video chat with his grandchildren. These connections transformed his days from quiet and lonely to full of laughter and purpose. These 5 steps aren't complicated, and they don't take away your independence, they protect it. My father made these changes, and they gave him not just safety, but a renewed sense of confidence and joy in his daily life. And the best part? You can start today. Now, I want you to take a moment and think about your own life or the life of someone you love. Are you, or is someone close to you, living alone without a solid plan for safety? Have you put off making these simple changes, assuming it won't happen to me? If my father, Robert, had waited any longer to take action, I don't know if he would have survived that night. And that's the reality I need you to understand. Most people don't think about these risks until it's too late. A fall, a scam, a break-in, or the slow, silent toll of isolation can happen to anyone, but you have the power to prevent it. So here's my challenge to you. Start today. Don't wait until after an accident. A close call or a wake-up call forces you to make these changes. Take control of your safety and independence right now. Start by setting up a daily check-in system. It's so simple, yet it could save your life. Find a friend, a neighbor, or a family member who can check in with you regularly. If you don't have someone you trust nearby, look into automated check-in services that alert someone if you don't respond. Look into a medical alert system. I know it might not be the most stylish accessory, but trust me, having help at the press of a button is worth it. If my father had one when he fell, he wouldn't have spent 8 terrifying hours on the floor. Secure your home. Don't make it easy for criminals. Install a video doorbell, use strong locks, and never give personal information over the phone. It's a small effort that can make a big difference. Make fall prevention a priority. Walk through your home today and remove anything that could trip you up. Check your lighting. Start incorporating simple balance exercises into your routine. Staying strong and steady on your feet is one of the best ways to protect your independence. And most importantly, stay connected. Reach out to an old friend. Join a community group. Call your family more often. Human connection isn't a luxury. It's a necessity for a healthy, happy life. Now, I want to hear from you. What steps have you already taken to stay safe while living alone? Or, what changes do you need to make after hearing this? Leave a comment below and let's start a conversation. Your story might inspire someone else to take action. And if you found this information valuable, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. We all know someone who could benefit from these tips. And together, we can help more older adults live safely and independently. Most importantly, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest insights on senior living, safety, and well-being. Remember, independence isn't about doing everything alone. It's about making smart choices that allow you to stay in control of your future. You have the power to create a safe, fulfilling life. So start today. Stay safe, stay connected, and I'll see you in the next video. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with something important. This conversation isn't just about me, my father, Robert, or the countless older adults I've worked with over the years. This is about all of us. Because no matter where you are in life, whether you're living alone, caring for an aging parent, or just thinking about the future, we all share the same goal: to live safely, independently, and with dignity. And here's the truth: you're not alone. It can sometimes feel like you're the only one navigating these challenges, but there are millions of older adults facing the same fears, the same risks, and the same desire to remain independent. That's why having a community matters. That's why sharing our stories, our experiences, and our solutions can make a real difference. So now, I want to hear from you. What has been your experience with independent living? Have you or a loved one ever faced one of these hidden dangers, maybe a fall, a scam, or the quiet weight of loneliness? Have you already taken steps to protect yourself or someone you care about? What has worked for you? What challenges have you faced? I invite you to share your story in the comments below. Not only will it give you a space to reflect, but it might just help someone else who is struggling. Maybe you'll read a comment that gives you an idea you hadn't considered before. Maybe you'll find encouragement in someone else's journey. Or maybe, just maybe, you'll be the person who inspires someone to take action before it's too late. Because that's the beauty of community. We learn from each other. We support each other. We remind one another that no one has to face these challenges in isolation. And if you're not sure what to say, that's okay too. Even just acknowledging that you're thinking about these things is a great first step. Maybe you're realizing that it's time to install a medical alert system. Maybe you're going to check in on a neighbor more often. Maybe you're inspired to call an old friend today. Whatever action you decide to take it now. Don't wait for a better time. There is no better time than today to start making small changes that will have a big impact on your future. And before you go, I have one more request. If this video resonated with you, please hit the like button and share it. You never know who in your life might need to hear this message. Maybe it's a friend, a parent, or even a neighbor. Sharing this information could be the thing that helps them stay safe and independent for years to come. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. I'm always sharing new tips, insights, and real-life stories to help older adults live healthier, safer, and more fulfilling lives. I don't want you to miss out on what's coming next. Most of all, remember this: you are never truly alone. There is a whole community of people just like you, people who care, who understand, and who are willing to share their wisdom. Stay safe, stay connected, and I'll see you in the next video. Let's keep this conversation going.